Castlevania the Adventure gets way more hate than it deserves. Now, I'm not saying Castlevania the Adventure is a perfect game, but it is a lot better than the internet may want you to think. So what do people say makes Adventure such a bad game? Well, to start, they say that it's really slow. Which it is. Christopher's walking speed in Adventure is leisurely to say the least, especially when compared to the speed at which a lot of enemies move. But it's not like other Castlevania games are exactly known for their speed-walking Olympic champions. Castlevania as a whole has never been about plowing through as fast as you can. It's always been about playing by the game's rules. If you dive headfirst into a Castlevania game, you're gonna get your world rocked, and Adventure's no different. I hear a lot of complaints about the rubber balls bouncing all over the place, but in my opinion, these are so much more predictable than this. Now, the reason this gets people all in a tizzy for Adventure and not other Castlevania games is that whenever Christopher gets hit, his whip goes down by 1 power level. You can see why this can be frustrating. However, I don't think this is as big a deal as most people make it out to be. For me, it makes sense since they added the fireball upgrade to the whip. If you were always running around shooting fire, the game would be too easy. I can see the reasoning behind the punishment for taking damage, and I think that for the most part, the game is built around this idea. Now, another complaint I hear a lot is that there are no sub-weapons in this game. As for the boomerang, cross, and knife, we don't really need them since we got the fire whip, and honestly, the rest of the game is kind of designed around this idea. Except for this spot in level 2 right at the beginning, you could really just hurl an axe and it would be so much better. Aside from that though, after about 15 minutes of play, I forgot about the lack of sub-weapons completely. If you give the game a chance, you'll see that aside from that one spot, the sub-weapons aren't really needed, and they'd kind of render the game a little too easy. Platforming. Adventure, level 3 in particular, has a lot of platforming in it, and I think it's one of the main reasons why people do not like this game. Now, I can understand where people are coming from. Christopher's jump arc is weird, and of course he has the same dedication to his jump as the rest of the Belmonts do. But his jump in particular reminds me a lot of Fox's jump in Melee, where he kinda just falls like a rock. The Belmonts on the NES have a dedicated jump arc as well, but they have a bit more hang time than Chris does. They've got a nice -x², whereas Chris is going -2x². Or in other words, Christopher's jump has a skinnier arc. You can see how this makes things a little more difficult. You've got to be really tight with a lot of your jumps. However, my argument this time is that if you just take a bit of time to practice, you can get used to Christopher's wimpy jump arc. Hell, the first level even gives you a great opportunity to practice with very little consequence for messing up. And honestly, this is one of the harder jumping areas in the game. Most of the rest of the jumps are a little closer and give you more room for error. As long as you take your time with the platforming, you shouldn't have too much of an issue for most of the game. Again, there are a couple spots that I can see people getting frustrated over. However, the one thing I will not defend about this game is the hitboxes. They're a little whack. Your own hitbox is a little too big and it feels like the whips is too small. On top of that, the control in general can be a bit unresponsive. Quickly ducking and whipping or turning around and whipping can be sluggish at times, causing you to take extra damage and, of course, downgrading your whip. You can definitely train yourself to work through these limitations, but there's no hiding that the control just isn't quite as refined as it is in other Castlevania games. Okay, now that I've talked about the things that others don't like, let me address the things that I think Adventure does really well. First of all, everyone can agree that the soundtrack is golden. I mean seriously, from stage 1 the soundtrack is straight bumpin'. I had these songs stuck in my head for weeks after beating Adventure. This is seriously some quality stuff, and it makes grinding through stage 3 actually kind of fun. And speaking of stage 3, am I the only one that loves the fact that there aren't any stairs in this game? Let's face it, stairs in the original few Castlevanias kinda suck. Like, I just want to throw my axe. Look, even the creators know this is bad. In my opinion, stairs weren't good until Bloodlines, where you can easily jump on and off whenever you want, which is conveniently exactly what you can do with the ropes in Adventure. Look at that! And the way they're placed, you never run into situations like this. And they give levels a more vertical feel without the fear of dropping to your doom, since you automatically grab onto a rope when you land on it. Another thing I think they did really well in Adventure was the enemy design. I really like the roly-polies on stage 3, and the rolling eyeballs are probably what this game is best known for. Now, the bats and the baseball mitts can be a little random and kind of really frustrating at times, but they don't break the game in my opinion. You just have to be really careful around them. Plus, there's almost always another weapon upgrade nearby, so if you lose all your power, it really isn't such a big deal. Now, I already mentioned the whip reduction upon taking damage, but I really do think that it's a good implementation. In previous Castlevania games, the whip upgrades don't matter. The first few candles you hit will always allow you to upgrade your whip, so all that death did was send you back a bit. This time, whip upgrades are only found in specific candles, and since you can lose your upgraded whip so easily, you have to be more careful. The game rewards you for not getting damaged by giving you a stronger whip with a longer reach. Heck, sometimes you are specifically rewarded for keeping your whip fully upgraded. Adventure encourages multiple playthroughs and mastering enemy patterns, and it's not like the leather whip is garbage either. Its smaller range certainly makes things more difficult, but I enjoy the challenge. Whip upgrades are frequent enough that you shouldn't ever be stuck with the leather whip for too long, and you're never thrown at enemies with random patterns like bats or baseball mitts right before a boss fight. So if you've learned the enemy patterns, then you should always be able to fight them with at least the chain whip. So try it out. Come at it with an open mind. Adventure isn't a super speedy technical masterpiece. It's an early Gameboy title. And it's not a very expensive one at that. It's only about 12 or so bucks on eBay. But you can also just get it in the Castlevania collection. I mean, that's how I played it. Plus, if you don't like it, you've got like 6 other Castlevania games that you can play instead. Like, you'll be fine. It may not be the best Castlevania game out there, but it's worth playing. Plus, it'll make Belmont's Revenge feel all the more satisfying, but that's for another video. I'm Bofner, and I'll see you all next time!